Christmas is normally the busiest time of year for churches across Europe. But the ongoing pandemic means that churches are preparing for a very different midnight mass this evening this year. In England, even churches in the highest Tier 4 restrictions are allowed to open for services. But how has the pandemic affected people's spirituality and faith during lockdown? Well, with more on the impact of the pandemic on our spiritual and religious lives, we're joined now by Joanne Grenfell. She's an Anglican bishop in the London Diocese of Stepney. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Look, normally on Christmas Eve, churches would be full of people for midnight mass, people who maybe only go to church once a year. What's the plan this year in the midst of a pandemic?
Well, Christmas won't be quite like most Christmases, but Christmas is most definitely not cancelled. It will still happen. So even in the highest tiers, church services can still go ahead. But there will be ticketing, there will be lots of social distancing, hand sanitizer, thermometers, all the things we can possibly do to try to keep each other safe. And then also there'll be lots of online worship, because some churches have taken that local decision that because their infection rates are so high in their community that it would be safer to be online. So there's lots out there, but it will be different.
Church is so much about community, particularly at this time of year. How are churches getting creative to still try and provide that when, of course, the normal things you'd be doing, whether it's running soup kitchens or winter night shelters, are far more complicated?
Churches are still doing some amazingly creative things. So one of our churches has kind of angel bombed their community, and that's in Hoxton. That's a project called Angels Over Hoxton, and you find these little angels appearing all over the community. But other people are doing lots of other really practical things too. There's a church, Hackney Church in East London, that has packed up about 5,000 Christmas parcel boxes for people who are maybe clients of food banks, people in need. And that's true of loads of churches serving hot meals and also giving out gifts. So churches are being extraordinarily creative at the moment. It's still Christmas.
I like the idea of an angel bomb, particularly today. You know, this has been such an extraordinary year. What impact has it had on people's expression of their faith, their spirituality, when we've had lockdowns and these increased restrictions? Have you noticed a difference there in how people express their faith?
Yes, we've seen a lot of people turning to church and asking those deeper questions about, where is God in the suffering? What's the meaning of this? How can I pray through this? And how can I still be close to God? We've also seen a lot of people who are sick and just sad that they're not able to be with others who are sick or perhaps who have even died. And so churches have done a lot of work by telephone, online, in person when that's been safe and possible perhaps over the summer. People want to turn to God and explore more about the meaning of life and what's beyond our lives. So I think we've seen a lot of interest, really.
Thank you very much for joining us, Joanne Grenfell, Anglican Bishop in the London Diocese of Stepney, and happy Christmas.